Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of October 2025. I hope you are well. I'm using the Wildwood Tarot for you today. It's really interesting. I haven't used this card in this deck in a goodly while, and it's come out twice today anyway. So, interesting. Yes, things to tell you before we begin. If the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that you can access at the end. That's via the first link in the description box below. You can join me on Selfie, or you can come over to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix on the Circle platform. There you can get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost beyond the membership fee. And that includes, weekly energy readings and whatnot. And if you join at the higher tier, you can come and participate in the live classes that we run 2 to 3 times a month. So if that sounds like it might be of interest to you, you know what to do with that link. Right, let's flip this around. Move that deck of cards out of the way so it's not distracting us. Fucking hell. Go on, off you go. Before I start pulling cards, I do the meditation before I start any reading. I did get a real sense of your head turning this month. What do I mean by that, Capricorn? It's like a lot of 2025 has been intense as fuck and very difficult as fuck. As a Capricorn ascendant, many astrologers were reassuring us all that once Pluto moved out of our first house, that we would all indeed be feeling relieved and so much better and all that kind of thing. And I actually remember having a conversation with an Aquarian friend of mine, and I went, "It's fucking bullshit. It's no less intense than it was." And she was like, "No, I totally get it. totally get it." So yeah, I mean, whether that's down to Pluto having shifted from your first house to your second house, or whether it's just the energies of the moment or whatever, I don't think that we felt that kind of that we were expecting at all. I know I certainly haven't, at least anyway. And there's been so much going on this year, particularly for you in terms of, a lot of internal processing, a lot of work, a lot of letting a lot of things go, a lot. This feels, the way that it happened, this feels like it's the first moment where you've kind of almost come back to something about yourself that you recognize, which is to say the feeling of spotting something in the distance that you want to work towards, instead of having to deal with the mess of the moment. And I think a lot of this 2025 has been firefighting almost with the mess of the moment. Certainly internally, at least. This is oh, hang on. I want to go over there, and I can do that. I can go there. A sense of kind of pulling everything together and being like, no, I'm ready now to head off in this direction. And it feels so familiar. Yet it has been so difficult to touch for such a long time. I just wanted to share that with you before we pull any cards out, so I'll be interested to see what the cards say as we move forward. So, could I have 3 cards for Capricorn, please? Right, there's the first one. We have the Temperance card there, balance as it's called in this deck. Right, current energy for Capricorn, please. We've got the 3 of Wands right there. And what about what's coming towards Capricorn, please, for October? What does Capricorn need to know? We have the High Priestess, the Seer. Now, what do we have here? Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Not normally an energy that goes particularly well with Capricorn. I feel like a lot of what Sagittarius stands for is somewhat... the polarity is at the other end where Sagittarius is concerned, right? Sagittarius has often it is considered to be associated with freedom and liberation, and the ability to be able to explore, to move about, to not be restrained at any point, right? whereas Capricorn innately understands restraint. It's something that you find within Capricorn personalities, but it's also a skill that's developed over time, right? Because that restraint is what allows you to be disciplined. It's what allows you to forego the short-term benefits for longer-term consequences, which ultimately will work out better for you, right? But notice how we have two Sagittarius cards on the table, which is very interesting. We also have a Pisces card on the table. All three of these cards represent energies of mutability. Sagittarius is the end of the fire signs, it's mutable fire. Pisces is the end of the water signs, it's mutable water. But then we have the Three of Wands here, which is a card of Aries, cardinal, like yourself, Capricorn, talking about the initiation of something. Now, what's quite interesting for me, and am I going to talk about this now, or am I going to... No, I'm going to get some cards out, is that... I don't think at any point that Capricorn has lost what it is to be Capricorn. I just think that Capricorn has some new information now, both about themselves and about the world and how to show up and all that kind of thing, that is going to deeply change the Capricorn experience from what it was to what it is. And you've been very much in the process of transformation in this, probably coming up for a year now, right? But I do feel like you've been guided to where you stand now on the threshold of October. Let me just get some clarifiers out here. Tell me about the Six of Wands, Temperance card, and Justice. Tell me about the Three of Wands. I'm going to show you these because they're flipped and it's quite interesting. We've got Death and we've got the Eight of Swords. What we've got is a kind of moving through some sort of mental restriction, mental roadblock, right? Sometimes the Death can be considered to be like a negative modifier of whatever it is that comes next, right? So quite literally not the Eight of Swords. But I think because of its association with transformation and breakthrough and whatever, what we do is we're barreling through what has been a cage of our own creation in our own minds, right? Now, they didn't jump, so I'm not going to take them, but I did want to share them with you. Tell me about the Three of Wands, please. Wow, we've got the Emperor. And we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Tell me about this here, this High Priestess. Why is she here for Capricorn, please? We have the Tower. Fucking hell. And we also have the Page of Swords. Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Right. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Capricorn, I don't think every single Capricorn on the planet is going to meet a new person with whom they are going to get into a relationship, right? Even if you're looking, I don't think that's what that's talking about there. It is possible that a handful of you may be getting into new relationships, and if you are, congratulations. I hope it goes well. Please do apply all of the things that you have learned over the last year to everything. But what I think it's more speaking of is a relationship with self, with the universe, with everything outside of you, that the level at which that is operating now versus what it was before. Because of all of the signs, I think Capricorns have been the ones to be going through the biggest breakdown, ready for the biggest rebuild, if you will. And I think that we have shifted from breakdown for sure into build up moment, and that's not just happened. That's been a month or two ago. By breakdown, I mean a breaking down of a particular version of reality that I'm going to say we, because I'm a Capricorn ascendant, we have been working to. And a realisation that there is so much more that sits beyond what has been our very narrow field of focus. Now, in that breakdown period, there has been a lot of internal reflection and a lot of adjusting to the information that we're now open to that's coming in versus where we were before. And I think that at the point where we started rebuilding, which is not too long ago now, but it's already happened, those things that are innately Capricorn that are, for the want of a better word, good, certainly things that we want to stay, are still there. But we've tossed out a lot of the toxic associations in our heads, right? So the need for external validation, I'm sorry, Capricorn, like most Capricorns wouldn't think that of themselves, but yeah, if you're chasing the job title, if you're chasing the status, if you're chasing any one of a number of things, for which Capricorn is known to adhere quite tightly, then it's a form of external validation, right? I don't think Capricorn's doing that anymore. I think Capricorn's done with that. I mean, I think for Capricorn, a lot of that comes from early childhood experiences, right? But we don't need to linger on that because we've spent an entire fucking year analysing that, you know? So, this moment of now, which is what the Knight of Wands is talking to me about, right? That very much the now, the ability to be in the now. Because one of the side effects of being so good at the delayed gratification and the focus and the moving towards a long-term goal is that it somewhat shrouded the energy of the moment from you, experiences of the moment from you. You could only see that where you were going right at the end of this road, right? And it was very important that you stayed committed and solid and didn't get distracted. This is another reason why Sagittarius and Capricorn are very different, because Sagittarius does get distracted by everything all the time. So your ability to look so far ahead came at a cost. Now, I think you've realised that and you're bringing it back to yourself now, and I think your eyes are open to what is around you now, and whether or not you feel in a state of gratitude for that, whether or not it's where you want to be, you are nevertheless able to see it in a way that you weren't before. But there's a feeling of opportunity that's coming up here with this Knight of Wands, that had it showed up at any other point this year, it would have been too early in your process for you to see it for what it was and even give yourself permission to engage with it, right? So for some people, it could be the possibility of an incoming romantic relationship, but the Two of Cups is so much more than that. For me, actually, it speaks about intimacy. That's the point of this card, and that isn't necessarily with you and a romantic other. It can be with you and a business partner. It could be with you and a friend. It's people coming together with shared goals, shared views, shared alignment of something, right? So it could as easily be somebody who is coming to you with an opportunity as it is somebody who's coming to you with their cup and saying, will you be my boyfriend, will you be my girlfriend, so on, so forth, right? But I want to really focus on this Knight of Wands and this energy of now, because this is the energy that's underpinning the entire reading, right? So when we come over here and we've got the Temperance card, or Balance as it's called here, another Sagittarius card, which is about holding a state of tension of opposites, right? What this is saying to me is that the whole of this year, and indeed the bit of last year where all of this started, has been about a couple of things. It's been about bringing balance into yourself, right? We see that actually with the Balance, with the Temperance card and with the Justice card. Whether you know it or not, your life has been imbalanced for the longest time, and the cost for that was borne by you principally, but potentially other people around you too, right? Because they didn't get to have a piece of you, Capricorn, on that kind of intimate level that you were willing to share, because all of your resources gathered up, focused in one direction. So now we've got this much more open, much more balanced presentation that you have now, both inside and outside. I think you understand yourself a lot more. But you've also discovered that there is, I feel, discovered for yourself that there is more to life than what you were told very young is the place where your value lay. I think you're starting to see that you have a value that absolutely extends beyond what you can do, what you can provide for people, what you can achieve. And I think you accept it in a way that you never used to, right? Now, the temperance, what was I going to say there? Temperance card is also a card of healing. Well, this is quite important, right? On a standard depiction of the temperance card, so say in the Waite Smith, what we have is an angel who is pouring from one cup into the other. But the important thing is she's got 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the land. We have a balance between the elements, and there are 2 elements that actually Capricorn should be able to move quite freely within, which is to say earth and water, because you are not just a goat, you are a sea goat, right? So there's that crossing of one element into another that you should be able to do at will, and was very difficult for you for the longest time. Excuse me. Yes, but the most important symbolism that is really coming to mind is the long path that is behind the angel, and the mountains that sit even further back than that. Now, those mountains have a crown on the top. Shall I pull up while I'm shitting on so you can see what I'm talking about? It talks about challenges that have been bested, that have been conquered. You know, things that have been problematic for you that have been worked through. You see the mountains in the background there, and the crown, right? So it's been done, it's been conquered, and then we've got a long road that takes us from the mountain to where you currently stand, which is in a balanced place. 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the ground, balanced across both there, and pouring from one cup into another for yourself, right? We have a kind of internal balance that is occurring here. Does that make you more capable of an external balance? Yes, it does, Capricorn, 100% it does. You've got a greater sense of your own value. You've healed what was imbalanced. Now you're moving from a place of integration, I guess, more than anything else. And like the 6 of Wands card here, it speaks of success. That's what it talks about. So what success meant to you 5 years ago is not the same definition that you are working to now. It's different. And I think for you, it's much more fulfilling. But the other reason the 6 of Wands is here is a nod to how much work you have done this year and how well you have done it. Now, Capricorn, it's you. I wouldn't expect anything else, right? But it's never been about the achievement. It's never been about the piece of paper or the crown on the mountains or any kind of visual symbol of the work that you have done. It's been about how you feel inside, right? So I think for the last couple of months you got to this point where things are starting to build with you rather than breaking down, and that feels good. It feels nice and stable, it feels nice and even. It doesn't feel like you're being pulled too much in one direction or another. It's just like, I'm here, I'm doing the thing, and it's good. I feel better in my skin than I have done before. But when we come into your current energy, we have now got the 3 of Wands. Now, there's an interesting keyword on the bottom of this card right here, and it says fulfillment. Now, just as success has a different working definition for you now than it has at any other point in your life, I think it's probably fair to say that fulfillment also has a different definition for you than you have worked to up until this point. It's fulfillment in a way that well, I don't think I'd like to say that most other people would understand, right? But there's a very specific Capricorn experience as was, which is the joy of setting yourself a target and then hitting it again and again and again and again. And there are times when it's hard, but the memory of how it feels to smash through that target is the thing that keeps you going again and again and again. And of course, once you smash through that target, you just set yourself another goal and then you're just away again, right? There's very little room for kind of contemplation or maneuvering or whatever. It's like, no, it's the next stage of the plan is what is getting executed now. So much has changed. Definitions of success, definitions of fulfillment, that what the fuck? Sorry, Capricorn, I've just noticed something that I haven't noticed before. How would I not notice that? What the fuck? Right, there is literally no reason for this to be the case. But those are entwined serpents on that man's doublet there. There's the Temperance card. There's the Three of Wands. Sagittarius, Aries. These cards don't have motifs that necessarily should repeat. And yet they fucking have. Wow. So when I say that you, Capricorn, have kind of worked out where the balance is, and you're doing it right, and it feels good, you're now almost literally wearing this on your sleeve. Like, this is no longer an internal state for you, it's now an external state too, such that it can be seen by other people, it can be perceived. Now, I thought it was fascinating when I pulled this card out initially anyway, because what we've got in the foreground is these two wands. We are standing at a crossroads, but the card is the Three of Wands. So it's the bow in his hand here, which is the third way. So we have a crossroads energy, and then we have what is effectively an Ace of Wands back here in your hand. I love to see how the representations of each suit are divided up when there's multiples of them, because I feel like there's messages in there as well, right? So not only do you have the wisdom of temperance, you're now putting it front and center. You're literally wearing it on your little clothing there. And we also have you showing up at a crossroads with the means, Ace of Wands there, to completely change the way that you do stuff. And the one suit is all about experience. It's about activity. It's what you feel passionate about. It's about your drive. It's about your energy levels. It's what you can tap into. So we're looking at fulfillment in a way now that is taking into account both serpents on both sides. It's not just the, maybe it's even just like the fucking relief of hitting the goal, hitting the target. Well, fuck right, I've done that. I don't have to think about that anymore. I'll set a new target, go off in that direction. Which means what you're looking for in terms of fulfillment is very subtly different, but it is very much within your control. Right? This is something that I wanted to point out to you. And I completely forgot. You've got major arcana energy here on both sides, right? Now, that is not energy that is under your control. That is energy that is influencing you. Further, we see it here in the Justice card. We see it here in the Tower card. And we'll actually see it down here too in the Emperor and the Wheel of Fortune. And we'll get to those in a moment, right? The only thing that is yours to control, the only thing that you could possibly control is the stuff that's happening in the minor arcana. Right? So here, Six of Wands, you have worked with your own definition of success, how that feels, what that's about, what you would do to get it, and you've come up with something different. Things have changed. Three of Wands here. So it's very much in your hand, Capricorn. You are at a crossroads, and it's an important one. Can I be very fucking clear about that? I say that because there are three cards. And when any two of them show up in combination, I know we are dealing with some sort of big karmic turn, some sort of alignment with destiny kind of energy, right? And those three cards are the Justice card, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Judgment card. Now, who was it? It was Cancer. Cancer ended up with all three across across their reading, their cardinal water. Here you are with two of them as well. Now, this, it feels to me, was always a road that you were supposed to travel, Capricorn. You were always supposed to get here. You were always supposed to get to the point of pretty much fucking burnout before you stepped back and you reassessed in a way that that only you could, really, right? There's no way that anybody was going to be able to tell you how to do this. You have to work out how to do it for yourself, and you have done that. And now we are here at effectively a crossroads where you've got the Ace of Wands in your hand, which seems to suggest to me that there is a different kind of creativity, passion, drive, energy that you are now tapping into. And you're just trying to decide which way to let it go. Now, that turn of the head, that return, if you will, to something that felt kind of familiar to you, Capricorn, when everything's felt so unfamiliar for the last year, right? I said right at the beginning, it felt like it was the first time you felt like yourself for quite a long time, because something was starting to appear in the distance and there was a desire to align with it and move towards that. Planning. The kind of situation that allows Capricorn to take all of their innate skills and put them in a direction, but this time with the addition of the importance of fulfillment and the importance of what's going on around you at the moment, at this very point in time, the now. Creating a much broader experience for you than you've ever had before. But there's a direction that's starting to show up. Cardinal Earth, you're getting ready to move. Now, the Emperor is on its side. The Wheel of Fortune is on its side. The Knight of Pentacles is on its side. In all likelihood, whatever it is, isn't quite here yet, but it's not very far away. Capricorn, it's really not very far away, because this is the present moment, right? So, why is the Emperor on his side? Because there's nothing really at this moment to be strategic about, to look to control, whatever. I feel like a lot of what Capricorn's done this year is relinquish control. That's a huge fucking deal for a Capricorn to do that. But taking your hand off and being like, I'm going to focus on what is mine to do, mine to control, mine to engage with. And not seek to be the emperor of everything that my eye touches, because quite frankly, that's too much work for most people, right? Now, I want to be clear, right? When cards show up on their side like this, for me, there's one of two things that's going on. We are either seeing a card moving from its reversed state into its upright state, and we've just caught it at a moment in time where it's doing that, you know, or vice versa. It's moving from reverse to upright. But quite often what I also see is that this is energy that's shuffling into position. Right? It's kind of like, oh, so it's almost time for my lines, you know, and kind of shuffling onto into the backstage bit, the costume on and everything, like ready to step out on stage and actually start giving that big energy, giving those lines, whatever it is, right? What I find really fascinating is that these three cards together have got such a signature of that turn that I was talking about, right? Because Capricorn, you know, despite me talking about you relinquishing control and doing all of that kind of thing, right? You are always going to be a boss. You are, like, whether that's literally or the boss in your own life, right? Your personal authority is something that is very important, and to an extent, like, it's hard won, right? You weren't born like this, you've worked for this, right? Wheel of Fortune is that sense of the hands of fate, the hand of destiny, if you will, God, source, creator, universe, whatever, being involved and actually actively cranking up the experience so that good fortune is something that you are, starting to be aware is supporting you in whatever it is that you're doing. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, Virgo energy, which is saying, I want to be disciplined, I want to be consistent, I want to get that pentacle to where it needs to go. This pentacle and whatever that represents for you is the investment of time, money, energy, care, love, all those things. It's methodical. It is a return to form. If we take that methodical approach of Virgo, that attention to detail of Virgo, and we combine it with the energy of the Emperor, who is saying, right, that, I'm in charge, I am my own authority, I am all of these things. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune showing up here. It stands to reason to me that there is something that is turning your head, that is making you go, I am pointing in that direction, and that's the direction I want to go. That's the direction I'm taking this. It's not quite here yet, but all this energy is shuffled into the wings. Now, I am wondering if the catalyst for these cards turning upright and walking on stage, if you will, is what happens in October here. We've got the High Priestess and we've got the Tower. Now, that's an interesting combination for which I have a very specific interpretation, generally speaking. A bit like when the High Priestess and the Devil shows up together, have a very specific context for that. But when the High Priestess turns up with the Tower, quite often what we've got is, and I don't even want to say it to you, Capricorn, is like a spiritual awakening. It's like something is being, you open up here and something gets channeled through, which rocks your fucking shit. Now, I don't think you need to have your shit rocked any more than has happened in this last 10 months, let's say 11 months, something like that, because it's taken you a considerable amount of time to get that to that point where you are balanced, right? And I think you've done that by way of really engaging with the lessons that were put in front of you right now, right? So then, if it's not a great big, fucking ascension moment, right? And I can't see where you would need one here in the context of this reading that I'm doing. Then instead, what it feels like is a divinely intuited course of action that has you going off at a 45-degree angle, a 90-degree angle, something other than straight. Remember that I said that I felt like you were now at the crossroads and you had the Ace of Wands, you were ready. But you hadn't made the decision as to which way you were going to go yet. The Tower, then, I think is the decision that you're going to make, the decision that you're going to take. But it's taking you off in a direction that may possibly have you being viewed as reckless or a little bit, I don't know, kind of going off a little bit half-cooked like a Sagittarius, and a little less like a Capricorn. Now, I don't actually agree with whoever might say that about you, because I don't think there's anything even remotely reckless about this. There's something remarkably informed, but what is no good for you now, Capricorn. You know that. You've got fucking 2 of Wands at the bottom of the deck. You know that. You've been at that place for a long time, but what is, or what you would like to be, has been kind of elusive for quite a long time. All right, okay, I'm doing my work, I'm being patient, I'm getting on with things, but like, where am I going? What was the point of all of this if it was to simply just pull everything down and make me, a little bit more comfortable in my skin? Where is the point of it? When does the point of it come in? The result of the work. I think that's what this is. So this could be a month, I think, where a lot of Capricorns are quite spontaneously and quite unexpectedly, at least to the minds of other people, deciding that they are going to change careers. They're going to do something entirely different, right? I think that this is a bigger kind of move than just, well, I've been working full-time, maybe I can cope if I knock down to part-time. No, this is a big fucking change. This Page of Swords is quite interesting because Because it feels to me like you're only really operating with half of the information at the point where you make this decision. Not that that's a terrible thing, although it kind of sounds it on the face of it. It's just like the rest of the information isn't available. But in the here and now, this is what is. Maybe somebody's bringing this to you, and it's like, well, you know, I could either sit around and wait, or I could respond to what I feel, and what I feel is a kind of tug. Interestingly, I've also stopped shuffling, and I'm now at the Lovers card, which for me is very much about making a choice, exercise of free will, but also alignment with the universe. It's a card of passive manifestation for me, the Lovers card. Malice Tower. Ooh, King of Swords, for sure. Fucking hell, right? Two of Wands, 10 of Cups, 9 of Pentacles. I don't think that you would shit on this last year, but let's be honest, it hasn't been comfortable. It's been hard. It's been rough. You wouldn't shit on it because actually a lot of things within you have changed, and they feel better now than they ever have before. Whether that's an appreciation that you now have for family, friends, anything that exists on an emotional level whatsoever, or whether it's something else. The fact is that this is now information that operates within your brain, right? And it's participating in your existence in a way that you wouldn't let it before. This is really important. And I think that you recognise the value of all of that, for sure. But let's be honest, Capricorn, it's kind of getting a little bit boring, right? There needs to be something that you can put your acute mind to. The acuity of your mind to. Because there are things that you want to do. Now, like I said, Page of Swords is on its side there, so I don't think that you have all of the boxes ticked and all of the, the 27-page fucking fact bundle that goes along with the decision that you're making here. And I think it does take you in a direction that everybody else goes, what the fuck are you doing? Nevertheless, I do think it is the right one for you, because I don't think that you can sit mildly and meekly at the crossroads anymore. I don't think you're supposed to sit at the crossroads anymore. I think you to start striving forwards on what feels good to you now, and what you feel the pull on. Because as all of this comes in, I really do feel like it's not very long before these cards all upright themselves, and then you are galloping forwards. But well, galloping off that way, as goats do, right? Because whatever the lessons of this year were, I do feel like you've got them now. And there are facts, and the level of information that you're getting on an intuitive level far outstrips what you need on the material level, the density of this vibration and whatever, to make your decision. Because you are balanced. There's no worry about you, about anything to do with the material stuff here at all. It's like, you can learn it, you can pick it up, if it's not already a skill set that you have. There's a self-belief here then, Capricorn. That's what this is talking about. But it's a self-belief that is balanced with a lot of other stuff that you haven't had before. So, like, you don't need a fact sheet of stuff. Like, you'll work it out. You don't need to tick all the boxes, because you'll work it out. It's fine. It's not a problem. I think there's been a kind of creeping boredom. And I think I think you've been just uncomfortable enough with the creeping boredom to kind of patiently hold that. But the scales are starting to tip now, and you're like, well, okay, well, I'm going to do some things. Can't sit around here at the crossroads all the time. I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go try some stuff. because why not? Because I can. This is really interesting, Capricorn. Right, so I'm going to go to the extended now. You're very welcome to join me if you would like to do so. You can do that on Selfie, you can do that on Circle. The links for both are in the description box below. You know the skinny, right? If that's not your bag, absolutely fine. Like, I'm really excited about whatever gets initiated by you this month, because it feels like it's an order of magnitude more impressive than anything else you could have done before. And I know how that sounds, but I stand by it, because it's bringing all of the elements to the table, right? Not just the earth. This is good. This is starting something very exciting indeed. Right, I'll leave it here. Know that I love you all very, very much. I'll see you soon.